Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our iOS development using UIKit tutorial series. And in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at how we can use UI content unavailable configuration to display a message to the user when, for example, there are no items in a list or a collection view, and there's no like search term or anything like that, and how we can display a message to the user when there are no items, right, in a collection view or a table, and there is a search term entered. All right, so if we take a look real quick inside of Xcode and we run our code, this is what we have right now. So right now we have a collection view of colors, and inside of this, above our collection view, we have a search field and a search button. Now the field is a typical UI text field, nothing too special there. And when we search for something using this text field, like let's say gray, we have all kinds of results for gray. Now we could also search, say, red. And there's our red views. We could say mint. And there's system mint, the lone color. Well, okay, I guess it doesn't show that. Ah, I see why. We can say mint, and there's mint. If we say let's say we misspell indigo, right, or something like that, and we hit search, nothing happens, right? There's no items being displayed. Our collection view is entirely empty. But if we delete everything from our text field and then we hit search, we get all of our colors back. All right, so that's kind of what we're working with here. Now, when we have no colors, but there isn't a search term being entered, then we want to show a prompt to the user. And this prompt is going to say, hey, there are no colors to show right now. Add a new color to display it here. Now, we don't have a mechanism for adding a new color, and that's fine. This is simply to show you how a content unavailable configuration actually works. The second condition for showing a message to the user is when we have a search term and there are no colors to display. In that case, we need to show the user a message indicating, hey, there were no search results. Try another search term. All right. So inside of Xcode, what we're going to do is we need to override a specific method. So we'll say update content unavailable configuration, and this takes in one parameter, a UI configuration, a UI unavailable configuration state, or just the UI content unavailable state. Sorry, my brain is all over the place right now. So inside of this method here, we are going to say first guard let search term equals search field dot text, else we simply want to return like that. All right. Next, what we want to do is we want to test if, so we want to test if our colors dot is empty. So if our colors is empty, we then want to test our search term to see if it is empty or not. So if search term dot is empty, we will say, well, first what we'll do is we will have let's see, I want to make sure that we have a var config. This should be an optional UI content not a view unavailable configuration. Make sure that's optional. Now, if our search term is empty and our colors are empty, then we know that it was an invalid search. So what we can do is we can set our config equal to the dot search configuration, and we will then give it a we'll give it text and some secondary text. By default, there should be an image for a magnifying glass, which is what we want, but we can set that ourselves if we so desired. So we'll say config dot text equals no search results, and then we'll say config dot secondary text equals there was no, well, we couldn't find a color that matches the search term you provided. Please try another color. Like that. And we can just leave it alone. After that, we don't need our image or anything like that, because as I mentioned, this should have an image by default for the search configuration. Then we'll say else. So if our colors is empty, but our search term isn't, well, let's make sure that we have our, let's go ahead, let's make sure that our condition is correct. Okay, now that makes a little bit more sense. So if the search term isn't empty, then we're letting the user know that the search term didn't match any colors. Now we're going to specify the state of our content unavailable configuration when there isn't any colors and there isn't a search term being entered. So we'll say config equals the empty configuration. Here we will have to set an image if we want one. And we will set one. So here we'll say config.image equals a UI image system SF symbol. And we'll have paint palette like that. All right. Next, we'll have config.text nothing to show right now. Okay. Xcode, why did you not include the quotes? So config.text equals nothing to show right now. Config dot secondary text equals add a color to see it displayed here, like that. All right, and then we will say if everything else fails, we will say we could set config to nil, but by default it already is nil. So we can just say content unavailable configuration equals config. So we're setting our view controller's content unavailable configuration to the configuration we just created. Okay, so we have an issue here that can be easily remedied. There we go. All right. Go ahead and save that. And what we'll do real quick is where we have our colors. Instead of saying equals constant colors, we'll say var colors equals color, like that, an empty color array. Let's go ahead and run our code and see what happens now. And here's what our app looks like. You can see by default, because there's nothing here and there's no search term, we see nothing to show right now. Add a color to see it displayed here, and we can see our paint palette image above. Right? So we can close out of that, and then we'll change back to our constants.colors here. go. We can get rid of that. Now, let's try searching for a color that doesn't exist. So I know for a fact none of them contain the word C like the 7 C's. We can search. We get no results, but we don't get our message that we want to display to the user. Why is that? Well, that's because whenever something like this happens, we want to request an update to our content unavailable configuration. So inside of our search method, underneath view did load, all right. So what we'll do is after apply snapshot, all right. So after apply snapshot in our search method, we will say set needs update set needs update content unavailable configuration. So when we call that method, we're telling UIKit, hey, we need our unavailable content configuration updated. All right, so let's go ahead and run our code now. Yes, I would like to replace it. And here we are. Let's go ahead and search for a color that doesn't exist. Hit search, and there is our content unavailable configuration being displayed to us. So we get no search results, and we couldn't find a color that matches the search term you provided. Please try another color. All right, and above it there should be a magnifying glass symbol. If not, you can always add it yourself. That's not a huge problem. You know how to do that now. But that pretty much does it for this video, guys, on how we can use UI content unavailable configuration to provide the user with specific context for various empty states in your application. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.